All right,
well, speaking of friends, too, by the way.
Yes, friends, like friends in San Francisco.
Yep. You got Klay Thompson's return to San Francisco, now the home of the Warriors, a team in which he played so many years, so many gig games. You got 4 championship rings, and it was the first time he'd come since he joined the Dallas Mavericks. And here's some of what it sounded like. Is this the Draymond? Let me break this down for you. So you and I had our conversation about it yesterday. You were talking about the boo.
They should have booed, right.
And I said they're going to boo, they're going to celebrate him, champion him, and then they'll boo him later. We got exactly what you would have hoped for if you were the NBA or a fan of the NBA. Draymond breaks it down a little further.
So finally, yesterday morning, I text Steph, and I text him like, hey, listen here, big dog. I need you to be locked in. Whatever it is that you need to do. If that's watch this tribute video, I said, I'm going to do the same. So by the time Steph come in the game last night, he pissed. As soon as I texted him, he called me right away. So I done tried to stir the pot a little bit, baby.
As you should.
So I pissed Steph off because Steph was supposed to speak before the game. He like, yeah, I called Raymond and told him I'm not speaking. I just need to lock in on the game, so I ain't speaking. And I talked to Klay about it. Tried to check in with Klay on something else, and Klay ghosted him. So he got pissed.
So basically, to paraphrase, Draymond knew. He said, I'm going to stir the pot, and I'm going to let Klay or Steph, hey, I know that's our man's, and I know that was just Splash Brother, but I need you to get focused, locked in. And he was able to kind of tick off Steph a little bit, and I guess whatever else happened between Steph and Klay where he ghosted him about something. So we got the perfect scenario where honored him, played all those years. They celebrated him. If you saw the video.
They wore those corny
They wore the captain looking like they were on.
What were they, Captain Crunch or
Captain,
the Love Boat?
The Love Boat looking like they were, what's the Gilligan's Island?
Yeah, right.
Yeah.
The skipper.
The skipper and all that. So everybody had on their little captain hat. And they honored him, and he got emotional. He didn't cry, but, he was excited about it. Then they got cracking right to action. It was trash talking. He hit a bunch of shots, and it was what you wanted, a competitive close game. Luka dropped 30-something. And then Steph just stepped on him the last few minutes of the game. Big shot after big shot, talking big smack, going to the crowd, going crazy, going crazy.
Story.
And it was exactly what you wanted and what I know you don't like in the NBA Cup. By the way, that Pistons game with Eric Spoelstra where it went down to a timeout in the NBA Cup. You need to jump on board with this NBA Cup, man.
No, it ain't. Ain't nobody.
And it's fascinating. The two best games were part of it.
NBA Cup. It was just that Eric Spoelstra had a brain fart.
He did.
I mean, how in the world are you calling a timeout when you don't have one? And then
he said he was emotional and he was thinking about it.
Yeah,
just into the game.
Well, that's bad, and that cost him a game. I mean, the Pistons went on. I've never seen that.
No, and we haven't seen that. And the irony is
where a coach calls a timeout that he doesn't have,
and especially a veteran coach who's been doing it 17 years and has been just a great career, NBA champion with the as he's coached the Heat. And then the irony was this showing Jalen Rose's face of shock as he was a teammate with C. Webb back when that timeout. So there's just the irony of Jalen Rose being there happening in Detroit and whatnot. But going back to this game, man, I just love, you can tell there's something there. And every breakup, as you are a man of a certain era, you remember when there were a lot of rock bands, when there were a lot of R&B bands and doo-wop bands and just groups from the 60s, 70s, and 80s. They never stay together the whole time, right? There's always a breakup.
That's not true because the Rolling Stones are still together and still performing.
Well,
not
true. What I'm saying. They're more the anomaly. Mostly breakup, you get the guy who left, he's mad, he was with his girl, or he felt like he screwed him out of some money, that kind of stuff. And they break up, and then they have the reunion tour, and everybody's happy, or they do a show, or they're on some new reality show, and it's all good. We love a little drama. I love seeing it. I do still tell there's a little friction there. I can tell that. Steph Curry is not a very emotional guy for the most part. I mean, something a little off right there. I don't know what's going on. A little tension, maybe kind of stuff we talked about. Feel like Klay didn't stick with the group. He didn't hang with us till the very end. You can sense a little bit of that. But I liked it. I liked the little drama. I liked the little beef. They showed love. Then they got to it, and they were going at it. And that, to me, was good to see.
I think Klay was probably embarrassed when he really looked at what went on last night.
What do you mean?
In that he should not have left, and that he let his emotions and his ego get the best of him, in that there's no reason he should be wearing a Dallas Mavericks uniform for less money, or let's just call it like it is, than he was offered, and now people are going to be like, oh, well, why he didn't stay with the group. I think he's like Klay Thompson is the Yoko Ono of the NBA because she broke up the Beatles. Look up Yoko Ono.
No, we know. Well, some of us do. Yes.
A lot of people don't know who Yoko Ono is. She broke up the Beatles.
That is true.
Because her and John Lennon, she pulled away from the band. Yoko Ono.
Does she still be at Laker games?
I think she's still around, Yoko Ono.
I don't know. Yeah.
But look it up, Ryan. I think she's still alive. But you get my point.
No, right. Klay Thompson is Yoko Ono. I wouldn't wait. That wasn't on my bingo card. She's 91 years old.
She's 91. I mean, that's unbelievable. And I was watching the Monday Night Football game when Howard Cosell, as a kid, I'm sitting there when he announced, that John Lennon had been shot. Yeah. I mean, I still can remember it like it was yesterday. And that. Back then, there were no 24-hour news.
No Twitter is giving you the heads up. You just had to break in and tell you.
Exactly. And you were just watching something, and if it was a live program, they would just tell you what the news was.
Yeah, the last one for me like that was probably 9/11, where it was just like, by the way, this just happened, and you're just like, wait, what? Because, again, no Twitter, no social media. No. My sister called me in the room. I was in college. I go looking at the TV. I'm like, this is crazy. And then, boom, the second one happened. Then you knew, okay, we're under attack.
Right.
But that first one you thought was an accident. But, yeah, I just like.
But I think that he probably realized he made a mistake last night.
But here's the thing.
I really believe that.
I actually disagree in that I think he still believes. You can just see the way he was playing. I think he believes he's better than he is at this point and won't let it go. He is a quality player who absolutely can contribute, but I think he thinks I'm a starter and I'm one of them ones.
But
you know what I mean?
But he is. He didn't make top 75. There's a lot of things.
Mad about that.
But he's a part of that.
No, 100%.
And he's a part of that trio, and by pulling away from that, that's not going to enhance. If he goes to Dallas and nothing happens there, do you see what I'm saying?
I'm going to give you an example to your own point.
Okay.
Michael Cooper.
Yes.
Michael Cooper goes anywhere else, you're like, all right, he was, it's solid, but he stayed with the Lakers. You get a bunch of rings, you da-da-da-da-da, and it turns into like, all right, Michael Cooper is a part of this thing, the Showtime Lakers.
And that's what I'm saying. That's where Klay is, not an individual, and he's on that team. It ain't about him. It's about Luka. It's
Dirk.
About right.
I mean, Dirk. Here I am, Luka and Kyrie.
Yeah. You're not. That's not your team. Anything that happens is going to be about Luka and Kyrie, not about you. So why would you go away from?
Because I'm telling you, Klay Thompson went from an unknown coming out of college to, obviously we know his dad, and we know, his dad had a great career and he's still doing radio and whatnot. Obviously, I used to, work with him. To wow, we're like, man, this kid can play. Great defender, can shoot, quiet, kind of humble, hungry. And then they obviously becomes a splash brother. They have an amazing run. But those injuries really got Klay in his feelings of, I'm better than this. And he sat there and watched other guys shine and other guys get the name.
But they paid him. He got paid during those years.
No, you're right. But I think, man, listen, man, ego is a pride comes before the fall. And he's sitting at home watching guys he feels like he's better than them, get love, get money, get on all-star teams. And he took that to heart. And then he getting on the bench. He wasn't playing well. And he just felt like he was getting, jobbed and that I'm still one of those ones, and he wasn't. And it was hard for him to accept. So he wanted to go somewhere he felt like I can compete. This team was just in the finals in the Mavericks, and I can prove to everybody. You saw it last night. He wanted to prove to everybody. And Klay just feels like he has so much left in the tank, and that I think he won't realize, man, we had it good until 2, 3, 5 years down the line once he retires, and he's like, man, we really had something special there. Right now, he wants to still prove I'm one of those ones, and I can be a massive, massive piece to a winning formula. And I don't think he is that right now. He can still be a cog in something, but not what he thinks he is. We're talking about Klay Thompson's return to San Francisco Chase Center, playing with the Warriors, where he played so many years and had so many special memories. Again, it was odd to see him not being a Warrior. You used to seeing that.
I think he realized that he made a mistake. I really believe that deep down he'll probably think to himself, what was I thinking? I let my ego get in the way. I belong here. I shouldn't have on some other team's uniform.
Cheering for him
right?
Too, yeah.
Like this, what was I thinking? What was I doing? Like you talked about it yesterday, I think, about Michael Jordan in the Wizards uniform. It just wasn't what it should have been. And there were guys, that's why I always say, like the Derek Jeter. Derek Jeter could have played a couple more years on some bad team, or down in Florida where he lived, you know what I mean? Yep. And made some more money and have his name or whatever. He played 20 years in the Bronx, never wore another uniform. Mm-hmm. He's a Yankee. Nobody ever saw him missing fly balls or ground balls in some other uniform like that. I think that there's something to that.
I know. I love it, man. Like, we didn't see Magic Johnson, wasn't the blue Cleveland Cavaliers.
Because remember, even weird. Shaq at the end, he was on 8 different teams.
Shaq had to relax.
Am I right? Like
Shaq got carried away at a certain point.
It was with the
I'll
Cavs.
give you the Heat because he was like, they chose Kobe over him. Okay, fine. And he ended up winning a check. Once he started being a Celtic and being a Cav with LeBron and then the Phoenix Suns with Steve Nash.
It was like,
all right, Shaq. And he admit that is one of the things. He's one of the few people I think where it actually does hurt his legacy just a bit in that because you start comparing, who's better Laker, Shaq or Kobe or this, that, and the other. And I think people start to look at that portion of his career where you're like, all right, man, he was on like 6 teams.
Yeah,
it got carried away at the end. And he admitted, I got crazy with the ring chasing. I wanted to go Steve Nash look good and those Phoenix Suns, let me go there. LeBron obviously was LeBron, let me go there. The Celtics look like a good squad, let me go there. It was like, all right, Shaq, this is Shaq. I want to remember you in the Lakers dunking and throwing people all around, not like
but
that.
But ego's a big part of life, and you know that people get caught up, and I think that's what happened with Klay.
I refer to it as so many times we see these classic bands, these classic groups, the R&B groups, rap groups, whatever it may be, where somebody was feeling himself, I'm not getting enough love, why he get the solo deal, or why is he getting all the ladies, or why is he, the one that everybody wants to do an interview. I'll go show them. And they go out, they try to have their own solo career. It doesn't work out. They feel bad. We've seen this happen a million, like wash, rinse, repeat. It happens, and there's a million Netflix movies or movies about the groups that do that. And they come back together when they realize we're better as a unit, and that's what it is. But I'll tell you what, the Warriors historically look better with Klay, but they look better without him right now. Because the version of Klay Thompson, unfortunately, that we got the last few seasons, they just look better without him. He was not making the shots. He wasn't running the offense as well. He's not the defender. So
they didn't do what they did because they didn't like Klay. He wasn't performing.
Yeah, he wasn't performing. And he wasn't just not performing. It was that he wanted to still reap the benefits and be seen and be played as if he was performing. Pre-injury, what was that, 2019, I believe it was. It was 2019. He wanted to be seen as that guy again. And it's like, you're not that guy. However, we still want to rock with you, but you're not that. And he just couldn't get rid of that, no, I'm still starting. No, I still need to be averaging, 20 a game. No, I need to be putting up 20 shots a game. It's like, you see some of these young dudes we got coming up? They can play.
Right.
Andrew Wiggins is a better version of you now, meaning both sides of the floor can get me 20 a game, can defend, long, can rebound. He's not a better player historically. Right now, Andrew Wiggins makes it. You look at some of the young players they got coming up as well. Their young players are playing very well, and they're like, these guys need minutes. And he didn't take well to being on the bench. He just went out. It went out bad,
but it happens.
It happens.
It happens to players.
It happens.
Like you're not going to be great your whole time. We talked about it. We've seen some of the all-time greats stumble at the end, not look good. That's part of my reason that I don't want to see Mike Tyson go out like that. I really don't.
You know who was another one?
I think that's going to happen.
Allen Iverson. Remember, he still could have been playing. It wasn't a talent thing. They were like, yo, man, if you could just come off the bench, you'd be perfect.
He would have had another 5. He would have had another 5 years in the NBA.
Who was stopping him coming off the bench for 28 minutes a game? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah. But he easily could have done that, come out. He was going to be the leader of that second unit offense.
6th man of the year. Would have been balling another. He just couldn't conform to, you're still skilled, but you don't fit a system right now. So you're better off being Jamal Crawford, who never could really fit a system.
Well, look at Grant Hill. Even after his injury, he was able to have his career.
Grant Hill is the poster child for like, hey, I ain't what I used to be. I was injured, but man, I can play well. Grant Hill did that. He aged perfectly.
He did.
With the Suns and some other teams towards the end.
You got to be able to set your ego aside. You're not the same guy. And Allen wouldn't do that.
No, Allen Iverson was the dude on the cover of Slam magazine in his mind. He was like, what, you come out the who?
And
Carmelo did that for a while, too.
Carmelo fought it.
Yeah.
And he could have played a longer time, sat out for a couple years in the NBA.
Carmelo Anthony right now could still come off the bench and get somebody 8 a game. If you know what I mean? If they really wanted to. And that's one thing the NBA will do. And covering it, dude, they will say you're done even if you're not done.
Right.
Because if they just feel you won't conform or just feel you got a bad reputation,
they're not going to fight with you.
They will absolutely. And then you'll see guys like Jared Dudley, Udonis Haslem. You're like, okay, why is he still in the league? Because they play their role. They're great in the locker room. Coaches buy into them. And they just end up being on a team well beyond their talent level, but because guys always say, hey, I need that veteran around because I'm always going to have young players who need a veteran who teach them the way, keep this guy around. And then you always see guys who are out the league. You're like, why is he out the league? Deion Waiters recently just came out and said, dude, I still could drop 20 a night. They just ain't rocking with you, Deion. They don't want the headache and all that stuff.